This is the CreaseCast.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the CreaseCast, this show that is just having a jolly swell time in the middle of a disaster zone. It really is just, I don't know.
FEMA tents everywhere.
God, yes, that is a great way of putting it.
Oh.
As you might have can tell by the voice, I am joined by a guest co-host today. He is a co-host of Pucks on Net, a far superior show, as well as a good friend of mine from when we did the Botchford Project together last season. Please welcome to the show, Arash Memarzadeh. Arash, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, I am doing. You know what? And I see your face and I see that smile, and it makes me temporarily forget that outside is just molten ash, and 50% of all life in the universe has gone missing because someone snapped and got all the Infinity Stones together.
That is, oh, man. I will say the one thing that has come out of this terrible season that I've noticed in particular is a lot more Marvel references this year than usual.
So much more Marvel. Everything is Marvel.
The Marvel per 60 is off the charts, and that's to me is a very important stat. It's the best. Like it's one of those things where it's like, I understand what you're trying to say here, and like it really brings it to a level that I enjoy. Comic books are always such a good like a use for like this sort of thing and like describing what's going on, especially especially in the way that like Marvel superheroes, all superheroes are always like, there's always the flaw. They always have the fatal flaws, whether that's as being, whether that's kryptonite or just in a human sense of things.
Yeah.
The Canucks are very human. The Canucks are very much that. But
are they human or are they Drancer is really the question that we have to ask.
Oh, jeez.
Did I do a Thomas Drance and a Killers reference in one bit?
Wow, you're beating him at his own game there at the pun game there.
Oh no, he's gonna. I can't wait for a new article on The Athletic on the plagiarism of Arash Memarzadeh.
Hey, if you can get a diss track article written about you, like that's a pretty good day still.
Very good day.
Darn good day. Yeah, obviously we're coming to you on, on what for any of our American listeners, we do have a few. Happy American Thanksgiving.
Yes.
I don't know about you, Arash, but like we actually talked about this for Canadian Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
I am not a turkey person. Like that's a hot take, I think, for a lot of people. I am not like turkey as far as like Thanksgiving or like holiday dishes go. I would not put turkey as like a top one. I am more of a ham guy. I like ham a lot more.
Yeah.
Where do you stand on that? Like, what's your go-to for these kinds of holidays?
Well, let's see. Okay, so I'm pescatarian, so I don't have turkey anymore. I don't have ham because my mom is Iranian and she just doesn't eat ham. So byproduct, I never really ate ham growing up. Before, I was slightly a turkey guy. I was more of a sides guy.
I would agree with that in my
own. My thing is like the mashed potatoes, corn, gravy, stuffing, congeal that into like a bowl formation the next day, and just that was my vibe.
Yes.
Turkey. I guess the thing that has a soft spot for people in turkey is that it's so incredibly malleable. It's not just a turkey. Then it can be in a soup, then it can be in a sandwich. You can give some to your dog. You can throw it at Canucks management. Don't do it. Don't do that.
We here at the CreaseCast are not endorsing that you go and do that. Please don't.
We are not endorsing that you. We're not endorsing that you come up from the United States of America with your leftover turkey and head over to
I guess they can do that without a test now, or I forget how the rules work on that. It changes all the time. It changes day by day in the same way that Canucks management changes what they're doing day to day.
God damn
it has been. It's been a day. It has been an absolute day on Canucks. It's been like that every single honestly, it's been like this pretty much every single day for the
Mhm,
last like 2 weeks now.
mhm.
But, you're coming off of a game against the Penguins where you got, clearly manhandled. Like, it was a game where even though at times, yeah, you might have had the shot advantage, but you weren't winning that game because you weren't the better team in that game by any stretch.
Mhm.
And and now you have today where like literally, oh, this might happen. Oh, nothing might happen. Like it's all the same rumors. It's all the same whatever. I don't know, like today in particular, honestly, it was draining. Like I was just kind
Yeah.
of sitting there like scrolling the timeline. And maybe just because maybe I'm just having a bad day or something. Maybe it's just, not my day or something because it's raining outside. I don't know. Sometimes that happens.
You know
But
what would
it's
cheer you up?
what would cheer me up.
A donaire.
That's true. Donaire would cheer me up. I admitted to Arash before the show. So there was the whole quads tweeting during the game yesterday.
During the game, right after the 3-0 goal, at the peak of like people's they're about to go full apathy mode. Instead of posting, like the white flag or posting some like
Doing
burning.
what I did, where I was just like, Tucker Pullman deserves to be stapled to the press box.
Yeah, like
That was my
everyone's hot anger, hot takes. Quads in all of his glory just walks into the Twitter sphere and is like, "Yeah, so had my first donaire. Pretty good." And the best part of that tweet is at the end where he's like, "Uh, dude, I tried the lamb. It was really good, but like, does anybody else have some suggestions of other meats?" I'm like, I love this dude. That's so good.
Quads is the best. Shout out to my boss. I will say now, to be fair to Quads, I do believe he clarified after that it was his first specifically lamb donaire, like he has had it
Yeah.
before, but it was his first of going for that particular meat, which would be, I guess, kind of like me going and being like, I had my first chicken burrito today. Like
Oh yeah.
because I've had a lot of burritos, but I'm very much because I'm part Mexican, so
Yeah.
I'm very much grown up with like going to the taco trucks and everything. And
Yes.
I'm a carnitas guy all the way. Fried
Yeah.
pork, you can't go wrong. But that was so funny. It was almost akin to, for me. It was almost akin to I don't know if you remember this,
Mm.
but when the 2016 World Cup of Hockey, the Team USA is like about to be kicked out of the tournament, and Phil Kessel, who was not invited to the team, tweets out, "Sitting here with my dog, wondering if there's somewhere else I should be right now."
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And it
No.
was
No. Yeah.
incredible. Like, it was just one of those, like, I care, but I also don't. Like,
Yeah.
it's
I
one of
don't.
those, like, I'm rubbing it in your face how little I care.
Yeah. I'm
Like,
on a couch. I could care either way. Like I
yeah,
don't.
yeah.
Um. Yeah. It was really. It's been really tough, and it's been very especially talking to various Canucks fans and everything about how I feel like it's been a lot. It's been very emotionally exhausting, and what's kind of going on is like a lot of people are very scattered and confused in their anger. Like they, one third want Travis Green fired, one third want Jim Benning let go, one third want Francesco and the Aquilinis to sell the team, and there's no one designated arrow that's pointed majority at one person. Um, and right now everyone's kind of sitting on their hands and everyone is waiting, and you have two options. You either can be really angry all the time, which full power to you, you should. This is It's humiliating, not because this team represents you, this organization represents you, and 31 other teams around the NHL are kind of your classmates, and they're all pointing at you because I don't know, you spilled chili on your pants, and then you just screamed, "Ah, the chili burns! It's my mom's chili!" And everyone keeps laughing, and you're like, "Don't laugh! I love my mom!" And they keep laughing harder, and it just keeps going down that rabbit hole.
That's a very specific example there, Arash. Are you by any
No.
chance are you by any chance using something from personal experience there?
The year was 2001, Lachlan. I was a boy with chili. No,
Oh,
no. I wish. I mean, I wish, but sadly, it's just fantasy at this point. But the
Yeah.
Canucks are a reality, and it's just very tough. And you hear so many of like, especially today. You're right; it's very exhausting because it went from no one's doing anything to everyone's potentially doing everything, and you're having rumors about Mike Babcock being in town because he's here with the University of Saskatchewan playing UBC, and they're meeting with the fan. It's like, okay,
God, God, please. Okay, let's get that out of the way. No hiring
yeah, don't do
Mike
it.
Babcock. Please don't. We should just take. You've seen what he says. Like the guy. No, please don't. And same goes for like Dale Talon. No hiring Dale Talon either. That's
Yeah,
also
I did that Dale Talon rumor. I don't think there's any way that the NHL is going to allow him to be back in back into a management position until some of the investigations surrounding him are kind of cleared up and stuff. But he's already up there in age, and it's like, hey man, maybe you had enough kicks at the can, and kind of have to go
yeah.
gracefully.
Yeah, Jim Rutherford is also a name that's come up, and for similar reasons. Not for similar reasons of like why Dale Talon's not being considered or
Hmm.
Mike Babcock for that example. Just the idea of like he's an old guy, like he's an older guy.
Hmm.
He's clearly, he left the Penguins for a reason, and that was probably because not, he was not ready to give it the full 100% anymore, and
Hmm.
which is right, which is, when you get to that point in your career, yeah, that's probably a good time to like consider moving on to just, being a family guy and just going out with your grandkids and doing those sorts of things.
Right.
So if you're Vancouver, that's maybe don't go for somebody who is basically already all but admitted, like, I'm not ready to to go full gusto into anything again.
Yeah.
Like, how about don't go for someone who would?
Well, I mean, the thing that they're doing right now, instead of looking at this situation as a microcosm of the last 8 years, and where if you take 2015 and the bubble situation out of the equation, it's been an unmitigated disaster of trying to cheat the process, or not cheat the process, a process. Because to be frank, there hasn't been a process.
No.
There's been trying to expedite things with bringing people between the age gap of 23 to 26, and trying to bring them to expedite things, and um, that's fine to an extent sometimes, but they kind of got drunk on it and just overdid it, and
They
we're
got
kind of
drunk on it
here.
with a roster that didn't have that wasn't already just a few pieces away. They
Yeah,
were trying to start it from the beginning.
they were trying to obtain those cornerstone pieces, like this. I no offense to Sven Berchi, but you're trying to bring in these like cornerstone top six or top four pieces by looking at other people's discard piles, in a sense,
Yeah.
or the piles in which they've kind of lost faith in it. And now you kind of look at the situation. They don't want to bring in, an interim coach and say, okay, this is a fundamental soul searching situation from top to bottom. This is no longer, it's just a coach thing or it's a GM thing. It's like, we got this wrong. It's not working. We need to swallow our pride a little bit and remove ourselves from the equation, get a new, fresh set of eyes here, and have that person unencumbered view the roster, view the people working behind the bench, and make certain decisions in that way. But what they want to do, from all reports, is they want to bring in a veteran coach. They want to see how they can like fix this,
Yeah.
when that's the exact problem that they've had for years, where instead of addressing a long-term injury, they try and find a band-aid, or they try and find the whatever that thing is where it's like the sealant.
Flex Seal.
Flex
Flex
Seal,
Seal.
exactly. It's Flex Seal, and they try and staple it on the boat, and they're like, "We're fine. It's
Yeah.
no longer leaking." And I think, the fan base is kind of very much picked up on it. The noise outside of the league, like, listen, like when the Canucks are the leading story on 32 Thoughts for 3 weeks in a row, Jesus Christ. And it's
Yeah.
not like, oh man, that Pedersen, or oh god damn it, the OEL and Garland trades, oh, blockbuster. No, it's like this thing that has arguably gotten worse by time continues to get worse. And the crazy thing that, and not to be a fear monger, Lachlan, but it can get worse
Yep.
because this team is healthy. This team
Yeah.
going into December is not injured beyond Brandon Sutter with long-term COVID, and we hope that he gets better.
Hmm.
This can completely go off the rails, and I feel like they continue to go down this road of, like, we're kicking it down the road and we're finding time or whatever. Lock them. They're gonna come back home in December. It takes one of those like Pittsburgh games where they're completely out of it and soulless. I've been saying it for so long. I feel like that's gonna be the match that ignites this fan base.
I mean, it feels like in a way, it feels like we're already there, like in some capacity, because like everybody has completely turned on the organization, including
Mhm.
like the people that sometimes, they'll go to great lengths to be like, no, things are fine. Even those people have like kind of have like started to smell the roses a little bit on
Yeah.
that thing, right? And yeah, you mentioned the whole like trying to take shortcuts and everything. Like there are the two, like the things I've been thinking about the other days were like even like right was like the Canucks are trying to fix a leaky faucet when the entire building has collapsed around it. Like
Yes, yes,
they're
100%.
like looking at the one pipe and going, and it's the only thing standing in a pile of rubble.
Dude, you
Jim,
don't have walls. Why are you trying
yeah,
to
why are you trying to fix this leaky pipe here? And then, yeah, the things like Jim Benning, like yeah, again, going through like the discard piles of every other team. It's the whole I know you're a big Simpsons guy like I am. It's other teams literally every other GM in the league is going up to him and being like, now you can have the lovely washer and dryer where the lovely Smithers is standing, or you can trade it all in for what's in this box. Every
the
single
box,
time
the
Jim Benning
box,
goes, the box.
the
Like
box.
he's every single time. Yeah, every single time. And oh look, it's a nice Marcus Granlund for you to use. How fun.
How
Like
fun.
that's how it's gone for this team for ages. Yeah, they had the one good year. And God, I didn't even factor in the injuries part. Like in the sense of like immediately, you know what? Like and I hate that it popped into my head, but I'm just thinking about the fact of, oh, if Thatcher Demko gets hurt, you're screwed.
Oh,
You won't win another game. You'll go on a 20-game losing
it
streak.
can Lachlan, it can like the only people, and this is we live in this bizarre world, like where if I were to tell you, oh man, if this was any other year and we said Elias Pettersson got injured, we'd be like, oh well, shit. For sorry me swearing, but if Petey goes down now, it's almost like okay, like
Which is, yeah,
we-
that tells you a
it's a
lot.
terrifying thought where it's like we're like yeah, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll put Phil Di Giuseppe and
Yeah. Nick
might
Patan.
probably give it Nick Patan might give it whatever it is. Yeah, it stays like this where I'm really I'm really sad that due to COVID, like the media people are not allowed in the locker room.
Yeah.
I feel like if that was allowed, oh man.
There'd be more, I don't, yeah, you don't know how much, we don't know how much exactly like they'd be able to like directly glean from it, but there are definitely cases of like you can see the clues.
Mhm.
When you're in person, you can at least kind of see you can see the little clues, and just in the like, well, I mean, we kind of got one yesterday in the sense of uh Thomas Drance being one of the only, reporters in Pittsburgh to actually ask questions. And he straight up a great question. He
Yeah,
asked JT Miller straight up, is this team buying in?
yeah.
And to which JT Miller kind of just shrugs his shoulders, looks away and says very quietly, I don't know. Like, which
Mhm.
it tells you absolutely everything you need to know. There have been some reports and some rumors going around about the locker room mentality. I mean, today there was even the thing where JT Miller literally yelled in practice, "We don't know what we're doing."
Like
After there was a miscommunication on the ice during practice.
Yeah,
Like,
so I Drance tweeted that, and I was so curious to be like, how, I wanted to get like a second, like how loud was that? Like, so I messaged Brendan Batchelor, and he's just like, yeah, no, it was like
audible.
purposely that loud. He purposely wanted people to hear him screaming that. And I'm yeah, like where do you start? And I think that's an argument that a lot of debate that a lot of people are having. Like, where do you start? And it's like, I wish they would pick it for us. I wish they would just choose and just go
Do
down a
something.
path, do something.
Do anything.
Dave
Do
Pat-
literally anything.
the eternal Jeff Patterson, do something.
Do
Please
something.
do
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Exactly.
And
Like,
yeah,
yeah.
it's brutal.
This is the thing that I don't think that the Canucks clearly don't get, specifically ownership doesn't seem to get. Is that look, I completely understand the mentality of going into a situation like this and saying, we're going to take our time. We're not going to make a panic decision and do something we'll regret later.
Yeah.
Which is because, especially with this team's track record of doing that a lot in previous years,
Mhm.
under not just under this regime, under previous ones, plenty of them. There are panic decisions made and that completely backfire on you later on. So I understand that mentality from them, but at the same time, right now, the reason your fan base is in such crisis mode and is losing its mind over everything is that there's nothing changing. Not like there is because they're trying to be accountable, there isn't any, if that makes any sense. Like
Mhm.
it's this idea of it seems like they're okay with the team being this bad on a nightly basis, whereas if at least somebody gets the boot, you can be like, well, we punished somebody. Somebody took had to take responsibility for what's going on, and we did something. Like, even if it's just like something small, it's one of those things where, like, by doing nothing, they're being complacent. And again, like, literally everybody on Twitter, everybody on these social media platform, everybody who calls into radios is like, we're just sitting here doing nothing. Like, you could
Yeah.
at least, maybe you're not going to get a new GM immediately, but at the very least, you get rid of the one you currently have who's not
Yeah.
doing anything, who you're not going to let do anything anyway.
You need
And
to, yeah, you need to.
yeah, and that you can start actually using the rest of the year to start deciding, okay, where do we go from here? What is step one of the new plan we're going on? Even if that's with an interim. Like,
Mhm.
at least then there's a semblance of, okay, we can start fixing things now. We can actually start to heal the situation, because right now there's nothing changing and it's only gonna get worse, or
I
at best it's gonna stay the same.
Yeah, I equate this to kind of, and might be a very stupid reference, and I'm sorry for making it, but I equate this to the time where Domino's came out and said that, uh, listen, after a long introspection, our pizza sucks.
I remember that.
Yeah, and
That
they're
was
like,
great.
our pizza sucks. We're gonna go back to the drawing board and figure out how to make a better pizza. This is what needs to happen with this team, where they have a moment where they realize, oh shit, okay, our product, and from the top to the bottom, our mindset that has created this product, that has created this atmosphere, is completely wrong. And you
Yeah.
know what? It's it's fine for people to do that in this day and age, to come out and have a little bit of humility and just say, you know, took a shot on something that obviously did not work. I was wrong, and I'm going back to the drawing board to try and fix it. What I think is the most audacious thing about all this is that they are looking at this product, they are looking at their system, and they are looking at their step by step plan. after 8 years of this and saying is we're not even after 6-12-1, where they are 1 point ahead of the an expansion Seattle Kraken team who has a game in hand of them after 20 games during American Thanksgiving, which is the benchmark for majority of teams. Either you're in or you're out at this point, or you pull off a Jordan Binnington, Mika Kiprasov run where you get a goalie and he goes ape shit.
Yep.
They're looking at this product and saying, we're trying to figure out who did this.
Yeah. We're all
And
trying to find the guy who did this. Hot
We're
dog.
all trying to find the guy who did this, you know. And I think that's the they're really testing the fan base's intelligence and their emotions and how much they're going to put up with this. I that's the stuff that hurts, is that I'm not saying that, you know, all people like you and I or whomever can run a professional sports franchise or manage it, but we live in a day and age where information is available to you through multiple devices 24/7, updated live, some for free where you don't even have to pay, and the gap of information is closed. It's not widened, it's closed between management groups and fan bases or the common person. And I just think, man, you gotta show these people a little bit more respect when you come out and you're trying to pull something like this. Just you need to treat the fan base with respect because they've been patient for 8 years. They don't deserve this. We don't deserve this, especially the media people who are covering this team don't deserve this. Like I felt so bad for Drance. Like having to, like, again, he's normally around his colleagues. He's the only person beyond Batch who's traveling with the team that can do that, ask those questions, and he's having to ask these players whom are out of answers, and he's having to ask this coach who's completely out of answers, like question after question after question, because everyone's there doing their job. Thomas Drance is doing his job. The Canucks staff is doing the job. The Canucks players are doing their job. And you're waiting for management whom seem to be called by ownership. So then you have to go up to ownership and decide, okay, what succession thing is happening here? And why, you know, why this shouldn't be this hard for a family that's worth more than $3.3 billion, you know. It
Yep.
just is what it is.
Yeah, and you're speaking like the same voice that a lot of Canucks fans I think are at this point. Like they're sitting there. There is simply no reason that the Canucks should be a bad team. Like in terms of what they have at their disposal, what sort of options and opportunities they have to improve their franchise, be it in the front office, on the ice, all the way down to even just like the ticket sales, like the
Mhm.
people at the box office. They have so many options at their disposal on how to improve the team. And there are certain things that, you know what, like I'll be like, again, I'm somebody who's just like, I notice a lot of things that maybe like people can be like, oh, that's nitpicky of you. You're kind of like, you're really looking for things or reaching.
Yeah,
Like,
like
I don't
you're
get that. Like, yeah,
yeah,
you're
this is
stretching it a bit, right? Like,
yeah.
and that's not, but like, I don't mean it in like a, you know, but it in a like, I don't get a lot of those comments, but I know there's some people that would look at what I say sometimes and like say,
We all do, you know. There's everyone that you can just be literally talking facts, like
Yeah.
plain as day. It's there on the stat sheet, facts, and they're like, you have an agenda. No,
yeah,
it's just
I can say that, yeah, and I can say the sky is blue, and someone will be like, "Oh, it's red."
yes.
Like, no, actually, past like 6 p.m., it's red because it's sunset. But whatever. And
Could you
they're like,
imagine?
oh, God, I can 100% imagine
That's the
is the problem. But I see like things, and I notice a few things just here and there as I'm like watching the games, or like just from even like the body language over like, or the things that the team has done over the last like 8 years. Not, and this is not nothing to even do with say Jim Benning or anything to do with the on ice production.
Mhm.
Just things like, for example, the other night the game against Chicago, they're wearing the stick and rink jerseys again. They're alternates.
Yep.
And on the ice, and I see a picture. I believe it was from Mark Lazarus, a Blackhawks writer. He's taking a picture of like all the on ice graph of like the cool like projections and everything like that. And I look at the ice and I realize, wait, that logo's the wrong one. That's the logo from a couple years ago that they were wearing, the blue stick and rink logo that they had on the shoulders.
Yeah.
Back and there's from 2011 to 28.
It's like the thin
Very-
stick as opposed to the thick one that is now.
It's it's still kind of in the same vein as the one that they wear now. Like it's still the modernized stick logo,
Mhm.
but it's the old one that had the rink where the rink was blue and it was where the
Gotcha.
rink was blue. The new one is white. And
Gotcha.
does that matter in the grand scheme of things? No, of course not. But I'm looking at that and I'm like, you have to know that that's by 3 years after you technically retired that logo from your like brand kit. You have to know that that's not part of your jerseys anymore. Like that's technically not your current logo anymore, but you're using it for on ice projections and whatnot, like in your advertising with it. It would be like essentially the Canucks skating out in their green and blue Orca jerseys, but then them
Yep.
using the navy one. If that
Yes.
it's one of those things where it's like you should know that that's technically that's not the correct one. And then there are things where it's like another kind of a jersey logo thing is like, fans want the flying skate back. A very easy thing for you to do, a very easy win for you to
Right.
make. Like, oh my God, you're going to sell a bunch of jerseys. People are going to show up to those games in droves, and they don't do it. Like just because, and like I believe Wyatt Arndt talked about it on Trust the Process before, because obviously they're the free the skate guys.
Yes.
Like he's talking about that the main reason why you don't see that jersey a lot is because it's not the owner's favorite. And that's it. And it's like, okay, is this team for you or is this team for everybody else? Because because even if you're paying the bills on it, I get that you get a say, but at the end of the day, you're not able to pay those bills without the people who spend money to buy the tickets and buy the merchandise and buy the food at the arena. And so there are things that they do sometimes where it's like, this is a very easy win for you. This is a very
Incredibly easy win for you.
small concession to make that you could win big time on. Like it's a clear win-win here, and they just don't do it. And so you lose hope on those sorts of things when it comes to you need to admit you're wrong about the way that your process is. You need to admit that you're wrong about the way that you've constructed a hockey team, to the point where, again, it's a case of you're like, the comparison people have been using for a long time in this market has been the Flames, like the 2014 Flames, where
like the
they
Glenn
looked like
Dawson.
they were where at that point where the Canucks were in 2019-20, like that team that like, they punched above their weight class. They won a playoff series they probably shouldn't have. Like they played this like the Cinderella team for a bit, and that got everybody excited. And then of course they didn't live up to those expectations down the line. Now it's gotten to a situation where I'm like looking at them like, they're not the Flames, they're the Sabres, they're the Coyotes. They're a team that is going to be a rudderless ship for the next 10 years. And this is all we have. We're going to watch this kind of hockey forever. And there's no end in sight. Like that's kind of where it's gotten to, unless they're willing again to literally go in and say, we need to completely change the way that we run a team from top to bottom.
See, the thing is, like, I with that, the scariest part about what you said is that it can be argued that you're right.
Yeah.
It can be, from the track record of where this team and this franchise has been for the last 8 years. You can argue that, and you can. There's a chance, that it's not far-fetched. It's not something out of the realm of someone's existence where, like, I don't know, you and I are going to be in the grave and Jim Benning is still going to be here. He's going to be like in a mech suit, and he's it's like the Futurama thing where they put the head in the vial
Head in the jar.
in the jar. Yeah, like that's
What do
it
you
does.
think? Headless clone of Wisebroad? Yeah, that's
I
the
hate
whole.
Tracy McGrady. I hate him so much. But yeah, so it's from small things like it like Diwali night this year, and I went on a little tangent about it, but like making 50 Diwali jerseys for $700 each, and I'm like on a night where you're celebrating that community, like how are middle class families that are bringing their kids to celebrate Diwali, and it doesn't matter if it's Diwali, Ramadan, Nowruz, whatever, Chinese,
Any holiday that you
yeah,
want.
Lunar New Year, whatever holiday. Like, what are it's like you could just be more accessible, and it's from the stories that we hear from the DJs, from one of Vancouver's greatest gifts is DJ J Swing, and um, he's in the stadium. He's playing a mix of hip hop and rock and all this stuff. He's fired because it's too much hip hop, and then someone's brought in DJ Baroness, whom was put on kind of a focal point, and you immediately heard more EDM rock. You did not hear any hip hop. You heard that. And then Tom Fleming, who comes in, whom it's really funny. What I would argue, the craziest thing, the Canucks' greatest acquisition this year is DJ Tom Fleming.
I'd fully agree. He's in the games that I've been to, in the couple games that I've been to. Yeah, he's been great.
It's been great because he's he has been a Canadian finalist in the Red Bull 3 style. And what if people don't know what the Red Bull 3 style is? It is a DJ competition, a worldwide DJ competition that happens all over the world in countries, and the finalists from countries go, and then they meet and go into the finals where there's a world final. But it's really cool where people show up and you have 15 minutes to mix a set of 3 different genres, and the best set wins of that grouping. And he's 3-time Canadian finalist, and you hear like in between periods he's like mixing and scratching and doing this like crazy stuff, and it's a lot of fun. I'm like, oh, great get. That's the one thing, like amazing get. And it was during the Chicago game, it was during the intermission, second intermission, where in my head I'm like, oh yeah, they're not gonna win this game. I was like, this is not gonna happen.
Yeah.
And I'm just listening to him DJ. I'm like, the entire highlight of my night is coming to Rogers Arena and listening to this guy DJ with a beer in my hand. And I'm like, oh, this is fun. This is fun. Yeah. And it's like that, man. Yeah, Lachlan, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like
you're at a loss for words. Like,
what are we supposed? I mean, really, what are we supposed to talk about?
What are we like?
What are we supposed to do?
Yeah, we started the show talking about Thanksgiving food, dinner, like those things, and that's because, frankly, that's what we've got right now.
Yeah,
like I don't know like how much this changes, say, like your shows day to day, like your podcast show day to day. But like for me personally, like at least with writing anyway, it's very hard to write about the Canucks right now. Like even things like, again, we were briefly talking about it before the show. I just put out an article on Canucks Army today about the penalty kill and talking about how last night
and how they can learn from them.
Yeah, exactly. Like and I that's a good, like it's an interesting thing to think, especially because the way the Canucks penalty kill is gone, it's clearly far beyond the point of they're actually just historically awful, and it's kind of more a mixture of not being good enough and also just the rottenest luck on the entire planet. It's always a mixture of that when you're the worst, so you can fix that and kind of like talking about that stuff. But even as I was doing that, I was thinking to myself, like, this is pointless in a sense, because of the fact of, like, by 2 weeks from now, or like by tomorrow even, it could be completely like, oh, who cares about the penalty kill? They just fired everybody.
Yeah.
Or they're like, it's one of those things where it's like, again, it's very much a case of like, I'm putting out stuff or I'm making stuff. I'm trying to find ways to talk about the hockey team in a positive way.
Yeah.
Or talk about even just the on ice production in a sense of like, it's bad, but there are fixes and adjustments you can make so it's not completely awful. And I feel like I'm kind of just wasting time because I'm kind of
Yeah.
just waiting for some shoe to drop that might never drop.
You know what it is, Lachlan? We are currently a lame duck fan base.
Yep. That's a
That's
great way of
that is what we are. We're
yeah.
all waiting. We know it's going to happen, but until it happens, we have to show up to our jobs, and we have to show up to our personas, and we have to show up to our communities and be like, okay, we got to keep this stuff going in some way, even though
Yeah.
the product in front of us is completely void of anything that I consider to be what I love about hockey. You know,
Yeah.
it's incredibly terrifying, and it's incredibly frustrating. And yeah, I don't know. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, dude, I'm way more stoked on like talking about like different donaires or different foods. Like, let's talk about stuff. Let's talk about colors. Ooh, what's your favorite color? You know,
Yeah.
everything is just this gray sludge gruel, like camp crusty gruel that we're just putting on the plate.
9 out of 10 orphans can't tell the difference. That is,
There's
yeah.
there's very little meat in these gym mats.
Great. Yeah, the great F meat, the circus animals and filler. That's what this hockey team's built out of. That's a great
Yeah,
analogy.
pretty
There you go.
much, pretty much.
Oh yeah, that is yeah, and that's where we're at. Like, and like this doesn't matter in a whole in a crazy sense, but just in the fact of like,
Hmm.
if you're the Canucks, like you knew Seattle was coming in this year, literally, and there's already been people talking about threatening to quit on the Canucks and go cheer for the Kraken. It's one of those things where it's like easier said than done in the like
Yeah,
because once even as much as you might want to once you're kind of stuck here
yeah.
if you no matter how you
Once you're in, you're in. Like
yeah,
that's the
and that goes for
thing.
any team. That goes for any team. Like any
Yeah,
team, any like fan base you're part of,
yeah,
that's yeah, you're in. But just looking at it, it's like God, like yeah, maybe the Kraken are not doing as well as you right now, but considering all the things that they have going for them down the line, like
yeah. This is
you think you'd be more in, oh my God, people might stop paying attention to us and start going down the I-5 or the freeway down to Seattle to watch those games instead. Like you'd think there
yeah,
would be a little bit more of an urgency on that front, especially like with the whole thing of like they're clearly not selling a lot of tickets, or at the very least, they're not getting a lot of people to show up at the games
yeah.
at this point. So like you'd think that there would have been more a sense of like, oh my God, we can't become the disaster team when a brand like the fresh new thing just showed up a couple right down the street. Like you can't end up that way.
Yeah.
And sure, and that's where they're at. They're completely at that point. They've got a game against Columbus tomorrow that does not matter in the
Doesn't
slightest.
matter. Like this is the thing. Even if they go like, let's go on a 3-win streak. There's still
Cool.
10-12-1. Like, congrats.
Yeah.
That's your bump up. Like that's
Yay.
the thing. And the thing that's been really has tilted me is a lot of people being like members of media or members of Canucks Twitter, like people like you and I, and whomever's covering the team. Love when things are bad because it's easier. No, it's not.
Oh
This
yeah,
is this is miserable. I hate this.
yeah,
I
it's
would rather go
depressing.
back to I would rather like at sometimes I'm like, dude, I would rather have a job at McDonald's right now and just like have that as my favorite thing. And
Yeah.
at least you know what you're getting. This is just like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw, but it was Shannon. So he's the hockey guy on YouTube. He's on
Yes.
the Steve Dangle podcast, and
Yes.
on the Steve Dangle podcast, he
Great
has the
interview.
infamous whiteboard,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
he's breaking down for the boys everything. There's not even making stuff up, just like statistics, baseline, like their penalty kill, last power play 27th or 28th, even strength
Yeah.
plus. And the Dangle guys get to this one stat where Shannon delivers it kind of deadpan, and he's like, they don't lead in any periods outside of overtime where they're tied 1-1. And the Dangle guys explode in laughter. And I have no problem with that. That's totally, I
Yeah,
would
they're
laugh too.
yeah.
But that's what this is what we've kind of become. Is the rest of the league being like, "Oh my god, that's hilarious. Look at them." And
Yeah.
that's it sucks.
Again,
It sucks being that.
you were the one, I believe, who the first person to tweet about the Sabres fans in that game against Buffalo earlier in the year, chanting "Nah, nah, nah, hey, hey, goodbye."
Goodbye.
The Sabres doing
The
that after
Sabres
all
fans.
they've been through. They have it in them that they're like, well, we're not great, but we're
We're
better
not
than
you.
we're better than you. Like, and that's
And
embarrassing.
and then it's 3-0 against Pittsburgh, and their fans are doing the wave. Like what? It's so tough. I feel so bad for everyone, but it's like, dude, it's the
It's
Canucks brand
it's
and the fan
tainted.
base. Yeah, it's. I think the Canucks brand. You know what? I'm not going to say the fan base.
No.
I think the Canucks brand has become uh, the punchline of hockey jokes.
Yeah.
The fan base, though, I feel in their resiliency has shown a lot of patience and a lot of like if this was happening in Toronto, Lachlan, not to shade on anyone in Toronto, but they threw jerseys on the ice and waffles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you know, our capacity for pain and disappointment is a lot, and I
Because it's
care.
all we know.
Yeah, I'm very
It's
empathetic towards
yeah.
what's going on, and
Yeah.
I just hope that people that go into games and stuff
Yeah.
enjoy it.
You got teams like Montreal who have been atrocious this year looking at it, and Ottawa and Arizona and all those teams literally looking at you like, God, what idiots. Yeah. Like they're
Yeah,
all like, look, they're all like watching the Arizona Coyotes in their ivory tower just laughing at you. That's
yeah.
where we're at this year. Because hey, at least they tanked on purpose.
I
Like,
think you know what the thing that yeah, and it's a thing that's the most infuriating. This was their best shot. This was this management group saying
they said we're a playoff team.
we're doing the Goku Kamehameha for 8 fucking years of episodes, getting the spirit bomb, and they're like, now's the time that we're gonna release it. And what ended up happening? The spirit bomb, like Frieza just boinked it, and now it's coming back at us, and we're like, oh no!
It's a
it's
whoopee cushion, or it's like
it's
a
a
balloon,
whoopee
just
cushion, you know?
like just flying around the
Yeah,
room, just like
it's
aimlessly, like oh,
it's the
like
Joker with the gun that goes out, and the thing comes out and says "bang" instead of a bullet. It's like
yeah, duh. It's the
yeah,
every other team running through the wall the Roadrunner painted, and
yes,
and the Canucks being Wile E. Coyote
yeah.
slamming into it.
That's the point.
Uh,
That's the beautiful point that you're making is that all these other franchises, like they did not say we're going all in,
no, you
and
did,
you did,
you're and you have only yourself to blame for that. Like
and
at the end of the day,
that's the thing that you really have to kind of remind everyone, and this is the gaslighting part of it. You all the stuff that they've ever said that's made you feel this way is available. And anytime they try and say, well, we didn't say that. No, that's not what we no, they said that. They told
yeah,
you that right to your face.
full receipts.
They're just a CRA basket of receipts is just right there, waiting to see if you're eligible for CERB. Like just, and that's the thing that baffles me is like everyone's just not only are people emotionally hurt, but everyone's just like very confused just because they're trying to be like, oh, um, did they say that? Did they say rebuild? Did they see retool? Were they did what were we competing? Were we not?
Yeah,
Was it injuries? And everyone's just trying to make sure, trying to validate their emotions and what they're feeling right now. And I guess the thing I'll say, anything that anyone that's currently listening to this podcast, or Lachlan or I or whomever, whatever you're feeling right now in regards to this team, completely correct. Don't for a second let anyone try and gaslight you to be like, oh well, you know, of course you'd say
No.
This has been such a scattershot blast of a mess that it's hit so many different people in so many different ways. And the only way to kind of fix this is to, I don't know, watch the house burn down and see what you can do with the land. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's been a yeah. This is entirely where everybody's at here. Again, like you get to the point where it's like I would love to talk about any other team. Like I mean, we did, if there was hockey on tonight, we probably would do a segment on just like one of
yeah.
those teams and what they're doing. Like I haven't talked a lot about the Florida Panthers this year. I would love to talk about the Florida Panthers. They're doing so well.
Panthers are absolutely legit. They're
Yeah,
great.
they're very, very good. Carolina's up in that same category. Like there are some really good hockey teams out there that we could be talking about. And I think like the thing that you nailed on the head was the whole like it's really like taking the taste out of hockey for a lot of people.
Mhm.
Like because like for some people, like it's even just like it's all they know from watching Canucks games on the normal basis right now is that it sucks and it's hard to watch, and it just makes you want to be anywhere else, and that translates over to watching even other games sometimes
Yeah.
because it's very much the mentality of, oh, every time I watch this I get really upset and sad, so I'm not going to watch, and and it bleeds into even watching things like the World Juniors or the Olympics or any other NHL game.
It reminds you of what you earned.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
It sucks. It really does suck. God,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
What else
oof.
is there to say besides that, really? I guess the couple things before we get out of here for this episode. We did have we had one question come in. I'll start with the question. This is from a little known Twitter account called, let's see if I can pronounce this properly, at Pooks on Neat, I think CA, I think it is.
Puck Sonnet. Yeah,
Puck Sonnet. Oh,
Sonnet.
the
It's a Midsummer Night's
insurance brand.
Yes,
Yeah,
and also the character from A Midsummer Night's Dream.
That's right. That's of course. How could I forget? They wanted to know, Arash, who's your favorite podcast co-host and why?
Well, it's me. No. Let's see, from Puck Sonnet. Probably Ryan's dad. Actually, I think he hosted once.
Yes.
He does not like the amount of swearing that I do on Pucks on Net, but what else? Literally, what else are we supposed to do? I don't know. Like, if I'm not allowed to swear, I don't know. I have no idea.
This podcast, we allow swearing. I have personally taken a stance of like I only swear on the show when I absolutely need to. Otherwise,
the
I'm
emphasis
gonna.
of it.
And I've noticed it's come up a lot more recently. I've noticed I've been swearing on shows a lot more of late, and gee, I wonder why. And yeah, the other thing, basically, I just like to talk about something that is kind of fun in terms of just like
thank God, thank you.
Like we're gonna talk about you now. Just like because you didn't join Pucks on Net at the beginning, right? You joined a little bit later.
Oh yeah.
Like you joined, like they were already kind of established, but then you jumped in later, right? If I'm mistaken.
Yes. So Pucks on Net started in 2013, and it was a group of 4. And what essentially ended up happening is the pandemic started, and like everyone was huddled into a group chat because no one knew when they would see their friends. And then I was huddled into a group chat that included Ryan Schaap. Watched hockey, talked hockey, and then I believe Ryan, on a drive down from Squamish, had an idea of wanting to invite me to be a black ace there, and then stuff rolled from there. It worked. Ryan offered me a co-host position. I was totally stoked, and I've been doing it ever since. And this, just meeting beautiful people like you, Lachlan, and then the rest of this community. Like it's makes going through this tough time a lot easier, knowing like you're not just on this misery island. Like we're all on this misery island together with the misery coconuts.
Well said. Yeah, because you would, and it's been a pretty quick rise to stardom for you.
Oh, well,
In,
okay, all
into
right.
I I mean, come on, we all know you're the best one.
Oh, no, 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 no,
I'm
no,
just kidding. I
no,
love them
no.
all. I love you guys. You're all
No,
great. You
Gita's
guys
the
are
star. It's very clearly Gita. Like if it wasn't for Gita, it'd just be Ryan and I just broing down. And who wants to, listen to two people who are just bitter and in their 30s broing down.
Yeah, yeah. In this show, it's usually Cody and me, and so yeah, we get
You
that.
guys
I
have
get
you guys have the youth on your advantage. Ryan and I are just jaded as hell. Like there's no hope left in our eyes. We're
yeah.
just
Cody is lucky that he was a later adopter of like the Canucks specifically
Mhm,
because man, it's like he didn't he I think he got into it right around when like when the Luongo era was just
mhm,
getting and the Sedin era was just getting going.
yeah.
And so he did, and so he's witnessed all the good stuff, but then got into the bad. But like, but even like for me, right? Like I grew up with like Marcus Naslund, Brendan Morrison, Dan Cluche, my first favorite goalie.
Number
Like,
39 in your hearts.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah,
You know what's
he is number
you know
39 in
what's
my heart now.
what's
Yeah.
really funny is that he only played here for one season, but my favorite goalie of all time, ever since I was a kid, was Johan Hedberg.
Oh
I
yes,
love Johan
moves.
Hedberg. Moves,
Yeah.
just coolest name. And if you go, it's funny if you go on YouTube and you type in Johan Hedberg penalty shot, you'll see a clip on YouTube that I uploaded like 12 years ago of Johan Hedberg stopping the now late Pavel Dimitra on a breakaway during the 2003-2004 season, and it has like 274,000 views.
Is it? It's a good save then. Like it's a
It's
particularly
a
good
oh
save.
yeah, he goes full splits on the penalty
Nice.
shot and like a glove save and just
That a guy. Yeah, Johan Hedberg. I'll never forget how there was the one game where Kluche got hurt. He had to play. They had to call in the emergency goalie, and Brian Burke like talks about it later. He's like, I literally said to him,
don't play the
"Does he
puck.
do not play the puck?" And sure enough, first chance he gets, storming out like run full speed at the full speed game of chicken with the penguin guy bearing down on him, gets decked. And you just see, and then of course the iconic shot of Chris Levesque, this like university kid from
Yeah,
UBC, just chewing his
chewing
gum
that gum.
nervously.
There has never
There's no
been
flavor left. It's
there is
gone. Like
no flavor left in that gum. Like that was yeah, it was an amazing cut. He's just like
everything about it is fantastic. The fact that he's wearing like the Gradient Orca jersey, the
yes,
fact
the
that it's
gradient.
just like the fact that it's like a in reality just a meaningless game in the middle of November. Like it's just all of these things where it's just like it's one of those things where it's like, oh, if somebody painted that, it would be in the Louvre.
Yeah,
Like you're just like it's just that it's such an iconic shot. And yeah, like yeah, Hedberg really
it
put
was
himself in a
great. It was
situation.
one of
He did that
those.
a
It
couple
was one
times.
of those. Yeah, it was a really one of those like really great times
Yeah.
in the Canucks history. And yeah, I really wonder what Chris Levesque is doing now. Like,
That's a great question. I'm sure somebody like I'm sure a Patrick Johnston has done like
yeah, they must have done
like
like
a transfer has
ooh,
done an article on him before, like 100%.
you
Like
know,
where is he now? Like yeah.
yeah, you know who I really want to interview, and it's
Ooh,
it's like my most niche interview topic, and it's probably ridiculous.
okay,
But so when Kevin Bieksa scores off the stanchion in the 2011 playoffs to go to the Stanley Cup final, there was a person that released all that confetti out on the ice. Now, Lachlan, what would have happened
oh no.
if they had called that goal back? And there, for what? And you saw that confetti stuck to the ice. It
Oh
was an
god, the
easy
players were
confetti.
tripping over it.
Players were
That
tripping.
confetti in itself is worth like a heritage moment. We'll
Yeah.
talk about it after. I want you to finish your thought first, but
Yeah.
go ahead.
So I want to know the person whom hit the lever or however it works for the confetti to come raining down. Like, was there a thought in your head that, like, mid falling down the confetti, you being like, "Oh God, was that a goal?"
That's
I just really want to know, like, because I feel like this is one of those situations where, like, okay, thank God it's a non-story. But if
ooh, yeah.
if this is the Marvel multiverse, there's a universe in which that goal.
Marvel's What If. Oh my god,
Yes,
with Canuck moments would be so
Canucks. What
good.
if? Oh my God,
Canucks What If would
Lachlan,
be so good.
Lachlan, that would be so fire.
Is this something we have to work on now? Like this
Yes,
is our side you and I were just having
I
like a side we start working on a side project
I would love
Canucks
to.
What If.
I would
I would
love
love to
to.
do that.
I would love to make like a written series where it's like the Canucks What If series, where it's like, yeah, what if the stanchion goal was taken back? Um, I don't know. What's another one that would be like really hilarious?
Oh, what if Nathan Lafayette didn't hit the post? That's a
Well,
good
yeah,
one.
Nathan Lafayette doesn't hit the post.
What if Pavel Bure didn't get injured in 95 would
Yeah,
be an interesting one.
yeah,
What if like there's plenty you can go through here. Like
you have to get to like really niche moments, you know.
yeah.
Like,
There
what if
there's
so and so didn't change the blade of their stick during for this game, or
oh my
you
god,
know,
yeah. No, like oh my god, yeah, exactly. In terms of the confetti though,
yeah,
um I'll say this, like just from like this is my best guess. I could be totally wrong, but I have to imagine like they're probably sitting up high, right? So maybe they saw that it hit the glass, but it's still at like the very least, it's one of those things where it's like even if he saw it hit the glass, that doesn't mean the ref saw it, so it could still be a problem anyway.
yeah,
It's one of, but like from me personally, like I've always joked. Well, it's not actually even a joke. Honestly, this is from personal experience of playing hockey for my whole life. If if you score a goal that is like questionable in
yeah,
any way, even if there's like if there's a shadow of doubt on that goal, you still celebrate like it isn't. You
yeah.
celebrate
You
like it
fake
is
it. You fake it.
100% a goal in like, and because that can sometimes just make the all the difference in the sense of like them not even going to review it or something like that, because you're just like,
Exactly.
no, I'm sure it went in, trust me, it went in, don't look into it. Like, is it kind of cheating? Like maybe sometimes it depends on if it actually counts or if it would have counted in the rules or not. But
Yeah.
like there have been I think I've admitted this on the show before. There have been times as a goaltender where the puck has definitely crossed the line clearly in adult league or beer league or
Yeah.
minor league games, and I've just been like, as the players are screaming at the referee, I'm just like, you're out of your mind. Like I'm just
Never mind. That was
deadpan,
it.
like that's nuts. Like don't like I'm like like I'm like don't
You're the
even kid.
calm
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
You're
I'm like,
coming in. You're
come on,
coming in and
bro.
just being like,
Are you kidding me? Like
like,
I'm looking at yeah. Would I lie to you? Like
like,
yeah,
hey, I know you're Oh, Lachlan, that's so
it's
bad.
evil.
You're like, hey, man, I know you're upset, but like, listen, those very clearly in. Are you okay?
Yeah,
Are
yeah. Are
you
you?
like, no,
Yeah,
yeah.
I am that kind of like I am never the you will never see me drop the gloves in any you'll never see me even take a penalty most like
Oh
even
man.
as a skater generally speaking.
Yes.
But I can when it comes to making sure getting some goals called back that shouldn't have, I am very good at it. I've done it a lot. I've done it quite a lot, and especially like they're not going to video review this. It's beer league. I don't care.
Go down to 8 rinks, guys. Go support Lachlan in his bar down dreams is what we're
They're
getting.
gonna start recording me like the puck
Just
is
tracking your
fully in the
course.
net as I'm pulling it inside, as I'm pulling it back under my pad, and I'm just like, no, what are you talking about? That doesn't go in. Like,
Yeah.
come on, like, please. I was the closest to it. I think I would know. Like that, like
Like, come
total
on.
gaslighting.
Just
Like
absolutely. Yeah.
I don't do it.
I love how half this episode is being like, I'm really tired of being gaslit, and Lachlan's like, hey, talking about gaslight.
Speaking of gaslight,
It's
hey,
beer league. It's beer
for
league.
the record, I'm kind of kidding in the sense of like I've not done it that many times. It's only
Yeah.
been on like a few rare occasions, but like it definitely more than once. I'll say that. I haven't played hockey in 2 years. I would love to see if I could get away with that again.
Not anymore,
But
because now they know what the hell you're up to after listening
I
to
mean,
this.
hey, I've never played in BC. They don't have any knowledge of me. They don't have notes on
That's
me.
true. They don't.
But yeah, the confetti thing as well. Like the reason. So again, I would love to hear that too. Like definitely, like in myself. But the reason that like it would be very. I imagine for you guys if you wanted to go get them, it'd be really hard because I believe there was a lawsuit that went in around it because essentially, if I
Oh.
remember correctly, something about again, P Canucks, something in the way that they installed like the confetti cannons in the building, something about it malfunctioned and hit somebody. Like somebody got hit in got hit in like the head by like a flying piece of confetti cannon essentially. And they sued
Oh.
the team, if I remember correctly.
Oh, well, that's
I could
something
be
else.
I could be totally wrong. I'm gonna look it up right now just to make sure that I don't like send a bunch of people like, what
Well,
this happened, and I'm just like completely completely putting two things together.
to be
Yeah, here
fair,
it is. Family sues Canucks over confetti cannon accident. There it is.
is it during the San Jose series?
Yes, on May 24th, 2011, a barrel of a roof-mounted confetti cannon came loose after shooting confetti into the stands and struck a 15-year-old boy in the head, allegedly causing severe brain trauma, amnesia, and other cognitive impairment. I do not know. This article does not say whether or not they won or there was a settlement of any kind. But yeah, in 2015, this was a thing, and then it got brought up again in 2017.
This was 2015?
It looks like the initial like lawsuit was filed in 2015, and then it
Okay.
came up again in 2017.
Because
So-
like, yeah, the thing is like, so this would have had to happen in 2011.
Yes, this is 100% like it happened. They said it happened in 2011 at
That's
the
insane.
Sharks game in Game
That's
5 again. Yeah.
Okay. All right. This is Making a Murder where we're just like going down a rabbit hole. We're like, Jesus Christ, oh no.
Yeah, just a wonderful, just a whole wonderful time. And then yeah, like the niche, those niche like stories are very interesting in that
You have to
sense.
give it some thought. Like you have to. It's like there's obviously Nathan Lafayette hitting the post and yada yada. And what if Ed Jovanovski didn't take a penalty and during the 2004 Flame series, and it wasn't like whatever. But you have to really think about like very niche moments. Like what? Yeah, what if Roberto Luongo did start the Winter Classic?
Yeah. Oh my
That's an all
god.
right one.
That one, I think I'd just cry making that one at the end of the day. I think I would just like be full. I mean, yeah, I think I'd just be in full. Like again, there are not a lot of like Canucks things that are like so bad that I'm gonna like, totally have an emotional breakdown over or anything. Luongo leaving, that was a tough one for
Yeah.
me. There were tears shed that day for 15-year-old Lachlan, definitely.
Yeah.
And the one actually that came to my mind was this was one that like I was like, this was like my first this was like the first Canuck playoff run that I like vividly remember. Like I definitely remember bits and pieces of 03 and 04,
Mhm.
but 07 was like the one that I remember with full detail, every single game and everything happening in that whole season leading up to it. What if the referees had called the interference penalty on Rob Niedermeyer when he just decked Rory Fitzpatrick in Game 5 in OT on a clear headshot? Like he clearly hit him square in the head on a penalty that arguably he could have been thrown out and suspended for, and they didn't call it. And in that moment, Luongo does the rifle like, what the hell, guys? And the puck, and then Scott Niedermeyer takes a shot and it goes in. Like it's one of those things.
That's a brilliant what if moment.
I swear to God, I was when I saw that when I was a kid, I was like, I was so mad. I was so mad about that. I was like, this is trash that got.
Well, then he let that goal goes in, and then you see Roberto like a loss of all fluid in his body because obviously he's going through whatever. And he just like collapses on the ice. I'm like that. He's the only reason that team's there.
Yeah,
in that position.
Yeah, and they might have gotten farther. Like they straight up could have gotten farther.
Yeah,
like you never know. Like I mean, that Ducks team was
led
very good.
by Daniel, Henrik, and Taylor Pyatt.
That's Taylor Pye. That team was wonderful.
team.
That team. Like I've watched a couple like a game 7, like the game 7 clips from the Dallas game.
Mhm.
Specifically, the crowd going just losing their minds over the first Taylor Pyatt empty netter and then the Trevor Linden one
The
after,
Trevor
or not
Linden
the,
one.
or I guess sorry, not Linden passing to Brian Smolinski who put it in the 4-1 goal.
What a
Like
second round pick at the trade deadline, hey?
that
That's
he
most-
worked out. He kind of worked like for that one little run there. Like the two like in terms of like he scored a goal I think in the first game of that
Yeah.
Dallas series. He scored one in game 7. Like he had a couple there. Yeah, he came up clutch a couple times. I don't know what the second round pick turned into. I'm sure you're going to tell me it was like, it was somehow it was Alex Ovechkin. Like
All right,
like,
let's because I'm really excited to go down this rabbit hole with you because I just feel
I made a mistake.
no, you didn't
I?
make a mistake, but we're gonna let Hockey DB take the wheel.
Oh
We're
no.
gonna show trades.
Oh no.
Let's see.
And then after we're gonna have to talk about the Botchford Project, I think, after this. We're gonna have to talk about that for sure.
Yes, we will. Okay, so he was. Let's see. This is 2007.
That 07 team was
Oh,
that
60
07 year was fun. Like so fun.
Yes. So now, Lachlan, we have to go to the 2007 NHL draft. Look at us go.
Yeah.
I'm being quiet to build anticipation because I don't even know who this player is.
Oh, for a minute I thought you actually like had somebody very like you this was something you guys have talked about on a previous Pucks on Net, and you were about to like just crush my soul with something like really with something.
That is okay. Well, it's
underwhelming or okay.
It's not underwhelming. It's very interesting.
Oh, okay. All right, everybody brace yourselves.
Akeem Aliu.
Oh, wow. Jeez.
Yeah.
That is both. Wow, that's
That's
God,
the 56th pick in the 2007 NHL draft.
That's something. Oh
my God. That is something. Gee, well, see,
you want to talk about Canucks what if? What if instead of trading Brian Smolinski, they drafted Akeem Aliu? Like,
what if they nurtured a human being properly and gave him an environment to succeed? Well, Lachlan.
Well, this has been great. Now, okay, one last fun thing. There was, God, jeez, what a God. Talk about another thing that just takes the starch out of ever enjoying hockey.
It's been a hard year for hockey.
It's been a hard 2.5 years of this. God, yeah, it's been the whole pandemic. Anything that's happened in the pandemic, like God, it just seems like a fever dream. It seems like this whole like just never ending something bad happening. But you know what? Like one good thing to talk about with the Canucks and the Canucks organization that has happened recently is they announced that they're doing the Botchford Project for the 3rd year in a row.
Yes, they are.
You and I did
you
our
and me. Clarissa
you,
and I in the Triforce of friendship.
The Triforce of friendship. There, the Holy Trinity.
Yeah.
There we all of course did it last year. In again, albeit the weirdest year possible, like to do that. And again, like I was honestly like part of me was wondering, like, because like it was getting a little later in the year. I remember the first year they did it, they announced it in the preseason that they were doing it. They announced it like right at the beginning. I think like the first year submissions were like due by the end of October. Like it was something pretty quick, like pretty quick out of the gate. They announced it this year. And like last year, it was different, of course, with COVID and everything. They weren't even sure they were going to be able to let us let anybody do anything. This year, there was like, you know, it had been a while, and I was kind of like, oh, I'm a little like, oh, I hope they're not planning on discontinuing that because it was great. Nope, thankfully they're doing it again, and apparently, just the way that our year went. It helped them inspire them to like, you know, do a couple things a little differently. Specifically, that the reason why you, Clarissa and I, we had to do it together was because of the COVID thing. It was the outbreak that happened as well.
Yes,
they didn't think that there was no guarantee that there was going to be potentially even a lot of games after that. There was already concern that like, oh God, they might have to just like cut the season short as is, right?
Mm.
I remember even having that conversation leading up to the Botchford Project day, being like, I
Is this
mean,
going to happen?
well, even like the case of where I was like, I will happily not do this if it means that they get to go home early. Like, that's fine with me. Like, if you get to send them home early and not have to worry about this, I'm fine. And that comes at the cost of me not getting Botchford Project night. That's fine. I'll take that. I'm okay with that. But yeah, they put us all into the one day. We had the one group, the one day as a unit, going in there, and had a great time. Like, it was a
Yeah.
really fun experience. We talked about it a little bit on your show last week. Just like, that experience in itself was just so fun, and it's cool that they looked at it and they were like, oh, we like that they all like had a good time together and they got to like experience this as a group and not just like individually. Because I know for me personally, I'm a pretty anxious person, specifically when it comes to like social situations. I get very stressed out in those kinds of things very easily. For me, having you guys there made it instantly so much better. Like, just the fact of
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm gonna get to hang out with these very nice people all day. We're gonna go have some fun. And it's not just gonna be me surrounded by literally every single writer that I've ever looked up to. And they're all like, want to talk to just me, being like, oh God, like, hi. Like, yeah, it made that experience so fun.
Yeah, and they were so incredibly welcoming, and like Ryan Beach coming down to say hi to everyone, and um, yeah, that day was fantastic, and just being able to hang out with you and Clarissa, and just us, in the time between the morning skate and the game, us just going out and just being like shooting the shit, really.
Yeah.
That's where kind of our bond came from, I think. Once we kind of relaxed after that, we just felt like, oh, okay, now we're just gonna go have fun. Like, we got the tough part over with, and we're just gonna go do it. And so now that they're doing the 2 batches of 3, so I think one in January, one in March.
Right.
um I hope, I'm really glad that they're doing it in groups, and I hope that the success they had with us, resonates with the next groupings that they pick. And um yeah, just a great time. And it just, especially in a time like this where Jason is so sorely missed. Like,
Oh my God. Yeah. Like
the
a ton.
like
Yeah.
the
100%.
the only person that I felt could make me feel alive during this point of Canucks history would probably be Jason. Just because he had just a way to tap on your heart just a little bit and just get you beating to the next day.
Yeah.
And yeah, just super super excited. And you've done so good with the CreaseCast, and being part of Canucks Army, and Clarissa's just doing social media beyond any recognition of what I like. When Clarissa retweets something I like, I joked about this when we met, but like, sometimes my phone, I feel like I just want to throw my phone into a river, just because
Yeah.
it's just like 400 people from Twitter liked your shit post. I'm like, oh God, get out of here.
Oh yeah,
um
I just got a new phone because Clarissa definitely broke mine. Like, this is a brand new phone. I'm sure. I can't say for sure, but I'm pretty sure Clarissa did it.
I'm
Being
pretty
drunk.
sure
My phone was
Clarissa,
not prepared.
the Tyler the Creator apologist, broke our phones. No, I'm just love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I have a wonderful time. And it just I don't know, Lachlan. Like, I just think about where I was before, and now that it, the opportunity it gave us to kind of have light kind of sent our way for a bit of time. And then with that time, just people being comfortable with us as our in our voices, following us or tracking what we do, if it's, podcasting, if it's writing, if it's just strictly like social media, whatever kind of form you want to do. And so the thing, I guess, I want to say to anyone that wants to apply for the Botchford Project, and I hope you feel the same way as I do, is that, like, this isn't, first of all, apply. Like, it's
Yes.
the
I
easiest. It's the
can't stress enough. Apply.
it
Even
does.
if you have zero experience. Well, like, I know they give priority to like journalism students and whatnot, but like, it doesn't matter. Like, if you
Yeah.
have any semblance of like a writing example to go off of, do it.
Yeah.
Like, just go for it. Even
Like,
if you don't get picked this year,
yeah,
do it again
keep doing
next
it.
year.
Keep doing
Yeah.
it. And
There's yeah,
what it is, it's just like, don't treat this as like a job. Don't treat it as a job application. Don't do that.
that yeah.
What you need to do is just tell your story, because this is Kat's going to be reading everyone's applications and your stories and stuff. So don't think that the person reading your application is going to, it's going to be someone with a marker just being like, oh, the syntax here is wrong. And that's not what this is.
No.
Tell your story, be honest, and just say, from the Canucks organization to Jason to now, what the amalgamation of all these experiences, where have they brought you, and how did you get here, and what's your story? Be honest. Don't fluff stuff up. Don't feel like you need to have like 20 blog posts on something, or if you don't have something published in, um, I don't know, like TSN or Sportsnet or the Canucks.com or whatever platform that you choose. If you don't be your worst enemy.
No.
Get the application in front of you, do what the application says, be honest, speak from the heart, and just because it can honestly, it can really just, that bit of light that it shines on you is so important, and the ability to connect to specific sports writers that you want to talk to. If it's Jeff Patterson, Tom Strantz, Rob Williams, Ben Kuzma, going down just straight down the list.
Yeah.
Whomever you want to connect to, if it's on social media, whatever, even to people that aren't associated completely directly in Media Row. If you're looking at Blake Price, Matt Sakaris, Donnie and Dolly,
Yeah.
they, I'm telling you, that's what that's awesome, and you should take this opportunity to just go for it.
Yeah.
Because I can't imagine, but I can't imagine like being at that moment of having to press enter when I did, and having the gremlins in my head being like, "Don't, you're out of your league."
Yeah,
Don't.
God, tell me about it. Like, yeah, even like, like for me, that was, the same thing. Like, obviously, Cody's did it last year,
Yeah,
or did it the year before, had done it the year before. And it was like, he, and the joke that the joke that Cody makes is from like a Quads quote from he was like, Cody's just a guy like that. And which is so funny. Like, of course, Quads didn't mean it like
yeah.
in a sinister way, but it was this very funny of like, this guy's just a plebe, just go for it. Like, and that was like
The
that was
bar
his
is really low. Usually,
yeah, the bar is that's the way Cody has like ran with it. He's like, guys, the bar is so low, they let
Oh,
me in, like
Cody.
go for it. And he's yeah, but like yeah, they just want to see that like they want to see that they do want to see that you'll take the opportunity like seriously. That's the one
Yeah,
thing, of course. Like
this
it's
isn't.
not a job application, but also like you're still gonna be expected to be
Yeah,
like
like listen, if you're a Canucks fan, that's fine, but there is a semblance of like actual journalistic interest in this.
yes.
So you're not going to show up to the game decked out in Canucks gear, and
No.
Canucks players are not going to sign your stuff, and you're not going to be in face. That's not what this is.
No.
But if you have a genuine interest from a genuine place about being a part of this landscape and kind of in Vancouver media, and listen, these connections, this stuff doesn't have to exactly lead
It doesn't
itself.
end
It
it
doesn't
doesn't end at
end.
the door.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't end at the door, and it also doesn't end at the Canucks. It's like if you want to take this opportunity and go cover the Giants or go cover the Abbey Canucks, Whitecaps, BC
Or
Lions,
or go
Esports,
cover an
whatever,
NHL team in a different market.
different
Like,
market, totally,
yeah,
totally. Just take
that's
this opportunity and just
world's
go
your
for
oyster.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
just go for it.
absolutely. And yeah, who are you like I forget if I know we kind of talked about it this last time, but like who are you sitting, because we were social distanced on that
Yeah,
so Clarissa was in front of me and you were on the other side. You were at
yeah.
the
I was on
right.
the other side in front of, or right. Yeah. So Clarissa and I were at like the front part of the encore line.
Same row, different sections. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then who was in your like row? Who did you talk? I forget who you talked to most in your like
Who did I talk
day.
to most? Honestly, it was probably Clarissa, but outside of go because she was right next to me. But
Yeah.
I talked a bit to everyone. Like Faber, I
Yeah.
talked a lot to. Faber
Right.
was such a gem, and I remember taking photos
Faber,
of.
love Faber.
Yeah, I remember taking photos of Clarissa and Faber. Also, I remember the one thing I do remember of the day, like Quadrelli coming in with like this like jacket, this like looking like
Yeah.
a Final Fantasy boss. And I was like, oh my god, does he have like magic spells under that coat that he's just gonna
Yeah.
looking fly as hell? I was like, oh damn, that's great. Yeah, I talked to Drance quite a bit.
Yeah.
And just yeah, it's just a
Yeah.
super dope time just
Yeah.
in connecting with people. Yeah.
Yeah. In my social anxiety, I think I still did very well. Like
You
talking to
did
like
great.
I think I did okay. Like I think I could
You
have
did
done
great.
better. Like I think I could have done better. Like just from a sense of like if I was a little bit more like
Hmm.
I could have probably done a little better. But like God, just like the fact like literally the moment the moments I'll never forget more than anything else was just being able to like sit in front of like literally my seat is here right behind me is Daniel Wagner, who I've loved for
Wagner's
years,
great.
my one
Yeah,
of my literally one of my all-time favorite writers
yeah.
of anything. And then Drancer right behind him. And I'm just like and Drancer is just cracking us both up the entire game with jokes.
Yeah.
And I was
He
like,
does he does
this
that
is the
thing.
life. Like this
Yeah,
is the dream. I'm
he
like,
does
this
that
is
thing
yeah.
where he's just like very audible.
Yeah.
And I like
He's got that powerful voice
yeah,
of what yeah, you when you hear him and it's either he's gonna say something like super serious and like important and you're
or
gonna
something
listen
so funny.
or something so damn
There's no in
funny.
between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just the experience of getting to sit there with those guys after like, again, like that's been like the dream for me is wanting to do that for a living and being able to like be there on a nightly basis, getting to
Yeah.
sit down next to these people, work on some article and get to chat with them about whatever, like was the best thing in the world. And it was
Well,
so
look at
fun.
if for anyone that's listening to this via podcast, Lachlan is beaming. He's practically blushing.
It was so because it was great. Like that whole
Yeah, it
experience,
was
like,
so much
yeah.
fun, and
And I
it took us no, it was completely free.
it
Like
was
it took
guys,
us no time
it
to
was
really
free,
write.
like, it's like a coupon code, it's like, it's totally free
Yeah.
to get in, like, you just gotta yeah, no, it was yeah, the whole experience, and then there was the experience of, like, again, like, I always mention that the first thing that I remember about
Mhm.
the entire event was seeing you and Clarissa like, experience it, because I had done some media stuff before, like, never NHL, but other stuff,
Yeah.
and, like, yeah, it was really cool, like, oh my God, these guys are getting their first ever media experience at the NHL level and just like going through all this, like God, these lucky devils, like, and and just kind of like getting to see it like through the fresh eyes of like someone who's never done it before.
Right.
Just that, like seeing that experience is like, it was very cool. Like, I loved that part of it. Like getting to like remember my first day doing my a San Jose Barracuda game, like
I'll
getting
make
to do that for the first
I'll
time.
make you a deal because I want to feel that way about you. I'm gonna take you, Lachlan, one day soon, and I'll take you for your first actual donair, and I'll have
Yes.
you eating it, and I'll be like, man, to be that boy right now.
Yeah. Yeah. That there you go. That and shawarma. I still need to try shawarma too. Like both.
Yeah, shawarma's good, but it's donair, man.
Fair enough. And then of course the fear in everyone's eyes when they realized I was about to ask Travis Green a question. That was also
Oh,
up there.
well, that was hilarious. Yeah, I remember.
I didn't know. I didn't fully. I saw it out of the corner of my eye, like, but it was like one of those things where, like, after you're like, "Oh my God," we all were like, "What?" Like, we
I
all looked over.
remember Lachlan. Maybe I'm misremembering this, but I
Please enlighten
remember
me.
it was J-Pat and Drance when they heard Marcus be like, "Oh, and next up is Lachlan Irvine from the Botchford Project." Like both of them like swarmed you. Do you remember this?
I don't remember it because I
Like,
was
well, they
literally
didn't. They
so
didn't swarm you, but they
like they just definitely were like, and
they
they're like,
came.
God,
They
yeah.
both came to your orbit. That's what I can say. They both like attracted
Oh
themselves to
man,
your orbit, and it was, it was, you know, okay. Also, you talked about it at the beginning with the Botchford Project, where we were like, oh, well, we don't want to keep these guys. Do you remember the post game interview thing with Travis Green and what he did?
Yes. Oh my God.
The
I was not asking as much.
Naruto run, like came in, asked two questions. Okay, yeah, but
Great, and leaves. Like that's the like might as well just slam the hands on the table. Just great, and he's out. And I'm like, everyone just like
I've never seen that from
like
Travis Green, and that was the one time being
ugh.
able to be there. And when that happened, like Drance just losing his shit.
Just,
Just everyone.
everybody just you feel like you're part of an inside joke like this, like you're like, oh my
Yeah,
God, this is the media inside joke I get to be a part of forever.
yeah, it's great. It's like the
This
little
moment.
nugget.
Yeah, like, oh my God, because you're just like, it's just one of those like, oh no, he's not having a good day. Oh man, that was yeah, that whole experience was so funny. Like again, I always say it's the most fun I've ever had watching the Canucks lose a game. Like
Yeah.
easily. Like, oh, if this is what, like, obviously I'm sure for them, like when you're seeing it again, like, there weren't as many people in the press box for that game specifically because the
Of
team
course,
wasn't doing
COVID,
very
yeah.
well, a lot of things going wrong. It was like, lots of people were tired of it. And like, but for us, first game, we're like, God, this is the best. This is the life. Like, we might as well just be in like the champagne room, or just like the whole like what is it? The thing with like, what is it like that the Scotiabank Arena, like Drake has got his own club that's like solid gold or something.
I'm sure Aubrey has his. I'm sure
Wow.
Jimmy from Degrassi has his own place.
Shots fired.
Watch just happens. A mixtape's gonna drop being like, boy from the West Coast dissing me. Not gonna happen.
Again, if you get that, that's a great day for you.
Pretty good.
That's a pretty good day for you. Arash, this has been awesome.
Oh, I love you, dude. Anytime.
I love you too. It started out darker because of just the other things going, the actual current things going on, but we got to finish off I think on the right foot. So
Yes.
on the off chance that anyone doesn't know where to find you,
Yes.
where can the fine folks who listen to the CreaseCast find your work?
Well, you can find me at Pucks on Net. Is a Vancouver-based hockey podcast that sometimes talks about fancy sets and sometimes doesn't talk about fancy sets. With my co-hosts Ryan Shepp and Gita Reddy. So that's at Pucks on Net, CA or CA, because funny joke, someone actually took Puck Sonnet from Midsummer Night's Dream as a Twitter handle, and it's actually Pucks on Net. So we have to add a CA to the end of it because someone just loves Puck. I don't know why.
Yeah. Have you ever considered like, I don't know your website situation, but do you own puckson.net? Is that yours?
.ca.
See, you need to do puckson.net. You need to do that. You need to.
I will message Ryan immediately with this information. But no, you can find us at puckson.net, and you can find me at Arash Memarzadeh for my Twitter handle, whereas that's kind of the main hub. I've decided that Twitter is where I'm going to be with Lachlan and I, and everyone's hunkering down in the Twitter sphere, and it's great. And yeah, just Lachlan, damn man, holy shit! I can't believe it's. When was the Botchford Project? Like May?
May. It would have been early May. It was like one of the first few home games back, like for them. Like, that was.
I honestly feel like it was years ago. Like
it
from
does.
How long this season has been so far, but
yeah, last season in particular, just it both went real quick and dragged on and on at the exact same time. It was somehow a mixture of both. I think this year's been a little better on that front, but not by much. Yeah.
When they're playing non-playoff games, when the NHL is playing playoff games, that's when you're like, okay, this is too much.
NHL might have to do that again for them this year. They might have to do that again. Even without a COVID outbreak, they just might have to do that. We need to bury these real quick.
Players should just show up to the ice with like decks of Pokemon cards and start just playing Pokemon on the ice, being like, it was fire's weak to grass.
Go full Mighty Ducks won, just all wearing different, completely wrong jerseys. They're all like tattered. They're all like they're like completely wearing the wrong equipment.
Allow the goalies to just shoot on each other, and whoever scores first just wins the game.
That'd be fun.
I would
watch.
I would rather watch that than the full 60 minutes of the Vancouver Canucks.
Of course, knowing the Canucks, with their luck, that would only happen when they have like games against the Oilers and it's Mike Smith on the other end who can just shoot a bullet down the ice.
Dude,
Yeah.
Okay, now we're getting into this depressed hole where we're like,
No, yeah, let's not do that again. I believe you also have a Patreon that they should go check out and go subscribe to.
Yes, so patreon.com/bucks.net. You can subscribe and get access to bonus episodes that we do. 5 minutes for paying, where it's an awesome little tidbit at the end of our episodes, and special episodes that we do with current and past hockey players and guest hosts with media hosts and everything. And just absolutely great. And would love your support, and I'm just so stoked on this What If Canucks.
We'll definitely. I promise you, we will definitely talk about that. And if you also want to check out the CreaseCast Patreon, you can also do that as well. We have $1 and $5 tiers. We do bonus shows for $5 a month. We do some other fun stuff as well on there. I am not Cody Sievertson, but if I was, I would tell you to go check out ahlnucksharvest.com. Follow him on Twitter at Cody Sievertson. And also on his website's Instagram, which is also at AHL Nucks Harvest. He does lots of great stuff. I believe the Abbotsford Canucks are coming back to playing pretty soon here. And he will be, of course, on our Monday show again. I have been Lachlan Irvin. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Lock of the Crease. And you can find my writing work at CanucksArmy.com, where I just posted the article that we talked about earlier about the Canucks and what lessons they could take from the best penalty killers in the NHL, and lots more to come on the way for that, no matter how bad this season gets. And with that in mind, thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you on Monday. Bye.